So I need a little help. I need you guys to remember a number for me. I need you to remember 68,673. Okay, 68,673. Got it? All right. Okay. So again, I'm Katie. I'm the Community Impact Manager for 211 Services. And we're going to talk a little bit more about 211 Services. So I know you guys get tons of communication from United Way. We're good at communication. We're good at newsletters. But there's tons of programs. So it's helpful to get a little more detail about what we do and what that looks like for our specific community. So 211 Services in South Carolina is a statewide program that provides information and referrals on services that can assist people with crises. Things like not being able to pay your rent, not having enough financial income to do things like pay utility bills, make sure you're going to make it to the end of the week with food, substance abuse treatment, counseling programs, mentoring programs, development programs for kids maybe falling behind in school, anger management programs, parenting classes, things that help us exist as healthy families. That's what we work to do, is provide that information and referrals to agencies that connect and do those direct services in our community. So what does that look like for us? It's a statewide service in South Carolina, and we have over 3,000 agencies in our database. Just in the Trident community in Dorchester, Berkeley, and Charleston County, there's over 300 agencies in the database. And so what do we know about that? That's a lot. It's my full-time job, guys, and I don't know all 300, much less all 3,000. So how do we expect people in a crisis to navigate that process? Well, we help them do that. We help them do that in 3 different ways. 211 is a phone number that people can call 24/7, 365, anytime and get a live person. Pick up any phone, cell phone, or landline, dial 211, and they will get a live call agent that will walk them through what's going on and provide them with information and resources for agencies that can provide those direct services to them. We also have a website and a free downloadable app. Those are great, especially for our community partners. So our agencies use those, our client navigators, our case management, as they're referring clients to other agencies and organizations that can continue to assist them. They use our stuff as well as our community, and especially our direct, first responders. They use our downloadable app as they're on scene, as they're directly helping people in the moment. Our DSS caseworkers that are doing home visits, our parent advocates in the school systems, all of those people that are in person with people, working with them directly, use those resources to make sure that people are connected with the right thing. And so the best part about it is it's free, right? It's free to anyone that accesses it through any of those outlets. 211 is free at any time that people need to access it. But let's be real. It's free because you guys make an investment into it, because you provide that service to the community for your continued support year after year. And that's why it's free to our community, and that's how we get that done. So what was the number, guys? Because again, not a morning person. What was my number? 68,673. There we go. 60, that's what I'm talking about. 68,673. That is the number of calls that were answered statewide in 2020. That's the number of times the phone rang and someone picked up on the other end. 68,673. As of October 31st of this year, we had 54,936 calls, which is an increase of 7% from that same time period in 2020. In the Trident area, just in 2020, so Charleston, Dorchester, and Berkeley counties, we had 13,589 calls. And as of October 31st, there were 11,317 calls, which again is an increase of 5%. And that's a big deal, you guys, because I know some of you are numbers people in here. So the question is, well, what 2019 look like? Well, 2020 numbers were a 15% increase, both statewide and in the Trident area from 2019. So it's important to hear that. It's important to understand what we're seeing, what those trends look like, and across the board, basic needs are up. So staying safe dry, warm, and fed. That's what people are calling about. It's the vast majority of our calls, often anywhere between 70 to 80% of our calls on any given month. That's what people are calling about. And that's an increase year after year recently. In particular, people are calling for assistance with motel vouchers, shelters, and water bill assistance in our area. All of that is up. And what that means is that people are struggling to stay safe, dry, warm, and fed. So it's important that we remember that as we move through this pandemic, that resources are still needed. It's not over for everyone. The first step is getting people connected to the right resources. And we recognize, again, there's 3,000 in the state and over 300 in our area. And so navigating that process is tricky. Navigating what documentation is needed to take to those agencies to become a client. When are they open? How are you eligible? What's their intake process? All of that can be tricky, and your investment in the community is needed to make sure that they have that guidance to make that happen. 211 is a guiding light, so if you'll check on your table, there's candles that we'd love for you to take home, just as a reminder that 211 is that guiding light. So what are next steps for us? We talked about what we do and where we are. But what's next for 211? So I'm super excited. We did a launch just this week for texting, guys. We are really, really pumped about this. And so we are going to be providing basic needs referrals via texting so that we can do a couple of goals. We want to expand accessibility. We want to reach some younger demographics. We want to make that available in Spanish. And we want to connect with those people that may be hesitant to reach out. Picking up the phone and calling someone to tell them what's going on can be really a difficult thing to do. And we also recognize that not everyone in our community is familiar with how to navigate a website or a downloadable app. So we want to provide that easy texting process for people that need that next step. So we launched our pilot with the TEW staff this week. And so if you haven't answered my email, answer my email. We are also going to launch with our community partners. So our local agencies that we work with and are in close contact with all the time. We're going to launch with them to make sure that that's going to work for them and their clients because we want to make sure it works for everyone so that we can launch statewide in 2022. So really, really excited about that, guys. So I know that we've looked at this kind of big picture community-wide focus. And it's important to remember that your support directly impacts that. But your support also directly impacts individual lives. So tell me that number one more time. There it is, 68,673. And that's a big number, right? It's probably bigger than you anticipated. I'll be honest, I work there and it's bigger than I anticipated. But we have to remember that each one of those numbers is a person. Each one of those numbers is a person on the other end of that phone. And it's important to get that perspective.